Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson. Thank you so much for joining me for the Weather Desk today here on 13 News Now Plus. On the Weather Desk, every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., we do talk about the top weather headlines, whether that's here in Hampton Roads in northeastern North Carolina, whether that's across the nation or across the world. We have a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things not really happening here much in Hampton Roads, but as we progress through the rest of the U.S., we do have some things to talk about. So let's talk about our weather headlines. Right now, good news is no heat alerts, but we'll talk about heat in just a moment. Here's a look at what we're seeing for our weather headlines. Severe weather across the U.S., tornadoes to wildfires. We're going to be talking about severe weather that happened across the U.S., plus the wildfires ongoing in parts of California. Also, NASA has a new cargo mission. We're going to talk about how they're sending support for finding more scientific evidence for things like the moon and Mars. And then here in Hampton Roads, it's going to be cloudy, cool, and breezy. But also, I'm watching for tidal flooding that is possible across the area. Remember that northeast winds, that brings us in the potential for some overwash on our roads, and that could last through the midweek. I'll show you the areas that are underneath that coastal flood advisory, plus when the tidal flooding will actually start to subside this week. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. We are talking severe weather. The National Weather Service has confirmed 4 tornadoes did in fact touch down from severe thunderstorms that hit central Massachusetts on Saturday. The tornadoes had winds faster than 86 miles per hour and were rated as EF1 tornadoes. Ted Wayman at our partner station WCVB has more details.
It got dark and I couldn't see out the windows anymore because I thought it was because the rain was just blowing by. My wife was upstairs closing some windows and she heard that classic train noise and she came tearing down the stairs and said, "We need to get to the basement."
That's when Glenn Sullivan says pine trees started covering the roof of his nearly 300-year-old home in Paxton. Glenn says he knew what it was.
I'm firmly on the side of this was a tornado. There's no way. If you look at some of the trees around here, they went every which way and snapped off at the top.
Crews from the National Weather Service are on the ground assessing Saturday's damage.
We've certainly seen some evidence of a tornado somewhere out here in the Paxton Holden area. Right now we're just out here putting the pieces together, trying to figure out the path length, the width, and maybe how strong it was.
Tree cleanup crews say they have worked for weeks in the towns of Holden, Paxton, and Stowe. Zach Dutton of Holden was thinking of thinning out trees on his property. He says Mother Nature had her own plan.
Those trees are just gone. It's amazing to see. And now there's a ton more light in the house than there was before.
Obviously, coming from Oklahoma, I am a tornado expert, and so I just hate to see all of the stuff that comes out of those tornado damages coming from across the area. But we do have other storm reports over the past 24 hours. And here, let's take a look at what happened in the central U.S. over the past 24 hours. You can see between northern Texas, the Texas Panhandle, through the Oklahoma Panhandle, into Kansas and Nebraska, there are a few storm reports. So we'll zoom into this one here near Amarillo, Texas. This one is just to the north of I-40, and this report of hail near Pampa, this says that this corrects previous hail reports where multiple reports of tennis ball to baseball sized hail destroyed at least one car windshield. That is very rare hail sizes, but that happens actually somewhat often in this region of the country. Flooding happened there near the Oklahoma-Texas border. I'll zoom out to give you a closer look at, a wider look at what I'm seeing there in terms of the bigger landmarks. So Wichita, Kansas, as you get near Salina, as well, multiple heavy rain reports. Let's go to just see one of those across the area. This rain report right near the city just said that there was at least 3 inches of rainfall there. So just a heavy rainfall, 3.5 inches to the west of Highway 135 and south of Highway 70. We are also seeing 4 inches of rainfall there. So heavy rainfall over the past few hours, and then some more reports of hail in Nebraska. Taking you up to the Great Lakes region, you get closer to parts of Michigan and Wisconsin, seeing some heavy rainfall reports and gusty wind reports near Marquette. So let's look at over parts of the Great Lakes. And there in Marquette, they were saying that there were non-thunderstorm wind gusts up to about 41 miles per hour, heavy rainfall up to about an inch there near the Great Lakes again. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts up to 47 miles per hour. So that's kind of the stuff we've been seeing. But as you can tell, as I go back to the big range, it's very isolated spots for the severe weather across the area. We haven't seen any severe weather, but fall does serve as a secondary severe weather season for the U.S. Spring, of course, being our first for their March through May, but for meteorological fall, which started on September 1st, September through November, we also could see the potential of those cold fronts that roll through that bring us that nice fall feel. Ahead of them, we still have really warm, moist air, and sometimes we can get those hail reports, we can get those straight-line wind reports, and also tornado reports. Now, let's take it to the opposite side of things. We are talking wildfires. Officials issued evacuation orders in San Diego due to lakeside fires setting multiple structures ablaze. According to CAL FIRE, the blaze started just before 3 p.m. near Interstate 8, and right there you can see that so far the fire has burned up to 10 acres, and multiple structures are on fire. A temporary evacuation site has been set up near the casino. And we can take this graphic again, seeing the active wildfires here across the area for the U.S. You can see the burn scars going through parts of California, but we have multiple active wildfires at the moment. Taking you to California, we were just talking about San Diego. There's a little bit of some fire there just around the San Diego, California, and Mexico border, and we have some active wildfires there. Also, as you get to the Arizona, California, and Mexico intersection, we are also seeing some fires there. Also near Fresno, multiple fires ongoing there between Fresno and Bishop, and in Northern California as well. Moving into the Pacific Northwest, there are multiple fires as well near Spokane, also into northern Idaho, also as we get into Oregon as well. Lots of Canadian wildfires as we get to the western part of that country. In the deep south, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, even out as you spread towards Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, lots of active wildfires at the moment. And even here in southeastern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina, we have a couple of active wildfires. One right now that is just there near Elizabeth City, just to the east of Parkville. That's going to put you right about the intersection or the middle between those two cities. We are seeing an active wildfire there. Let's zoom up closer, just near Waverly, also another active wildfire. And then we do have one on the Middle Peninsula, right there on the Middle Peninsula to the south and east of Saluda. So a few here, but not as significant as it is back out to the west. Now let's take a look at the smoke forecast across the country when it comes to wildfire smoke. And you'll see that the heaviest smoke here across the U.S. will really be concentrated there in California. Here's a look at Fresno. Look at how much wildfire smoke will be spreading from California to Nevada from the course of today through this evening. Taking it even further, you can see wide range that places around Washington will have increased wildfire smoke, reducing the air quality through Wednesday evening. Now, for the rest of the area, and I'll take you through about Sunday, you can see that we do have some areas of some lighter wildfire smoke in parts of central and southern Texas, also moving through Mississippi and Alabama and up into the Great Plains. For the East Coast, where we are here at 13 News Now, not as much. A few areas of wildfire smoke near Charlotte, just to the east of Raleigh, but otherwise not much to speak of here in the Mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Good news there. What's not so good news is that while it may be cooling down here in Hampton Roads, homeless people in Arizona are still trying to survive yet another brutally hot summer on the streets. Since the city first formed its Office of Heat Response and Mitigation in 2021, the city has taken steps to combat extreme heat. This includes adding trees for shade to opening cooling centers. Recent data shows that the majority of people using the centers this summer are also people who are unsheltered. One outreach employee says they describe the heat as hot, sticky, and sweaty, and sits on you like a 50-pound weight. And unfortunately, that goes into the fact of environmental racism, but an environmental injustice. But again, that official there saying that it feels like it's a 50-pound weight on you with the high heat and high humidity.
I mean, you can literally cook yourself on the pavement and on the sidewalk like an egg. So people who are unsheltered and mentally ill, it poses a very great risk. I've had people I've worked with who've sustained third-degree burns, living out here on the streets, falling asleep on the pavement. It's awful.
It truly is awful. Part of her job is to drive out to different neighborhoods and connect with people who are unsheltered. She'll offer water, sanitary supplies, and even a ride to the heat relief centers. And during heat events like that, it only takes temperatures of 80 degrees for feels like temperatures to start to feel the effects of heat on your body. Fatigue is possible with prolonged heat fatigue is possible with prolonged exposure and physical activity. Heat cramps and heat exhaustion become possible as we get into the 90 to 104 range. In Phoenix, where they've had consistent temperatures 100 plus, heat exhaustion is likely. Heat stroke becomes possible. And then at very rare temperatures where you get into places like Death Valley, heat stroke is likely with feels like temperatures 130 plus. Now, we here at the Weather Desk have way more to talk about tropics, space, and what's going on here in Hampton Roads. I have more on that forecast after the break. Welcome back. Here on the Weather Desk, we like to tap into space topics as well. I'm a big astronomy nerd, and this month, NASA and partners are preparing to launch their next cargo mission to the International Space Station. They plan to send science to support Artemis missions to the moon, human exploration of Mars, and improvement of life on Earth. Let's take a look together.
We're doing all kinds of really important science aboard the space station, all the way from stem cells and material science. And we're also working at NASA to industrialize low Earth orbit and explore the moon and beyond.
ISS is 250 miles above the Earth. The moon is 1,000 times farther than that. And Mars is even 1,000 times further than that. And so we've got a lot to learn, and I'm really glad that we're laying the footwork here on the ISS.
Sometimes I go back and forth and decide, do I really want to be an astronaut maybe one day in my life? But sometimes that kind of space stuff gets a little too real. Like, it starts to scare me a little bit. But I'm super excited for what they're planning to do next and exploring this huge universe we live in. Let's take it back down to earth, though, and talk about what's happening here in Hampton Roads with your full forecast. As you see, it's a very gloomy day for us across the 757 and the 252. From your Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview, this is a look into parts of Virginia Beach, and it is super gloomy. The clouds are moving very quickly. You can kind of see how much they're moving across the screen as a low pressure system offshore continues to pump in the cloud cover and will eventually give us some isolated showers. Now, there is a little bit of sunshine still on the peninsula. That's the last area, the peninsulas are the last area that will actually see sunshine for today. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s and lower 70s for the rest of the area. Right now, here's what I'm tracking. Here's this low pressure system. This is bringing some rainfall offshore, lots of cloud cover there as well. Getting inland, North Carolina, we've been cloudy all day long. Virginia side of things, south side, we just became cloudy. Peninsulas, you're up next. High pressure is also to our north. Why is that important? Well, one, high pressure, remember, H for happy, L for lousy. High pressure is keeping it really nice there in parts of northern Virginia into the Appalachian Mountains. But when you're squeezed between high pressure to your north and low pressure to your south, remember, these are different types of pressure. And so you're squeezed in the middle, creating a pressure gradient. The tighter the gradient, the faster the wind speeds are. And so we're talking another breezy day for us, and those breezy conditions will continue into tomorrow. But right now, satellite and radar shows that we do have a lot of cloud cover, but rain hasn't moved in quite yet. Wind speeds at the moment up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. They'll progressively get stronger throughout the day. Temperatures right now inland in the lower 60s. As you get towards the water, we're in the lower 70s. The cloud cover continues to build on, so by about lunchtime, everybody will be underneath overcast skies. And then we have an opportunity for a few isolated showers. Some may evaporate, though, in the air and kind of release a little bit more of a drizzle than a steady rainfall, but expect drizzle to isolated showers. Most of the showers should be light for today. They could be a little bit heavier tomorrow. By this evening, temperatures will be in the upper 60s to lower 70s, still breezy, north winds. Highs today at best in the middle 70s, so still about 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. Early tomorrow morning, as you're taking those kids to school, that low pressure system still impacting us. And so we'll have overcast skies, breezy conditions still with wind gusts as high as 25 to 30 miles per hour. We also will have some isolated showers. You may have to hit the windshield wipers a couple of times as you're heading into work or taking those kids to school. But it will remain mild overnight as the cloud cover acts like a blanket for us and kind of traps whatever heat we have for today into Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. By the afternoon tomorrow, highs will reach into the middle 70s. By about 6 o'clock, that's when the rain becomes a little bit more widespread. So scattered showers across the area. Still that north wind pulling in cooler air, upper 60s to lower 70s for the evening time. And that rainfall does continue into early Thursday morning. Now, the northeast winds are specifically something we watch for here in Hampton Roads, because of our geography. The northeast winds pull in some of that water from the Bay and the Atlantic. And so we could enter minor flood stage in the next hour and a half with the high tide at 11 a.m. Minor flood stage looks to continue through Tuesday evening and then into Wednesday afternoon as well. We'll finally see those winds starting to back away, and that will also help to reduce those water levels back to the nuisance stage on Thursday morning. So we do have a coastal flood watch in place, a coastal flood advisory in place as well for the areas in blue. This includes Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, heading into Portsmouth, Isle of Wight, Surrey, peninsulas, mainly the southern parts of the eastern shore with those north winds. That goes through tonight and again through Wednesday as well. Now, if you're heading out about today, we will have high levels of ragweed pollen, also for medium ranges of mold pollen. Thankfully, with the rainfall we'll get, that will help to cleanse the air. And so tomorrow, these should drop into the low range for those pollen counts. They will resurge later on this week as drier conditions settle in. Now let's talk about the tropics. No tropical activity is expected over the next 7 days. This is very atypical for this time of year. Tomorrow is the peak of hurricane season, and I saw a post on X this morning of someone who went back all the way to the hurricane season of 2009, and every single September 10th, there was at least one area in the tropics we were tracking, at least one. Some days had, or some September 10th had more than one. Some had 3 named storms at a time. Here, it's been super, super quiet. The last time I was on the weather desk about a couple of weeks ago, I talked about that tropical upper tropospheric trough that brought in that wind shear. Remember, wind shear is a turning of wind direction with height, also the change of wind direction with height as well. Change of wind speed with height as well. Hurricanes, tropical storms, tropical systems in general do not like that type of environment. Tornadoes thrive in wind shear. Tropical systems do not. Now, that is why we didn't see it over the past we saw it last month where we had a lot of lull in activity. Now, we're just seeing the very quiet Atlantic once again. Tropical activity, again, not expected over the next 7 days. But we are keeping an eye out for our friends out in Hawaii, the most southern state in the U.S., where Tropical Storm Kiko is still trying to churn, but is losing a lot of its strength. Earlier this morning, it was a hurricane. Yesterday, it was a Category 2 hurricane. And now weakened into a tropical storm with the 5 a.m. advisory, sustained winds only of 60 miles per hour and gusts up to 70. Very, very grateful that Kiko did not make landfall in Hawaii because meteorologist Craig Muller and I talked about this last week. We were worried that the global models actually brought the storm onto the Big Island. Good news is passing to the north right now, about 300 miles to the northeast of Hawaii. But as it passes to the north, it could churn up some rough surf, also creating dangerous rip current risk on the eastward facing sides of the islands. By Thursday, weakening to a very, very weak tropical storm and becoming a tropical depression by Friday morning as it heads out into the open Pacific. That is the only thing I'm tracking in terms of impacts to land at this point. Your 5 to 7 day forecast shows this scattered drizzle and mist will continue today, really starting off with the rain coming through around lunchtime through the day tomorrow. And then also, I'll be sure to add some of those rain chances to early Thursday morning as well, where we still will have scattered drizzle in place during the early morning. Temperatures with the cloud cover and the rain will be in the middle 70s by the time we get into Thursday. Once we clear out, highs will be back into the upper 70s and will stay in the middle to upper 70s through early next week as sunshine continues. We have a beautiful weekend on tap. Small rain chances, though, for places around the Outer Banks on Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday. But any rain we honestly can get from these systems will be beneficial. We are abnormally dry for this time of year. Otherwise, you can't really ask for a better day, and over the next 7 days, we will be remaining below normal for this time of year. Our normal high temperature is around 83 degrees. Now, don't forget to download the 13 News Now app on your phone to stay updated with the latest news and weather. You can download the app on Apple Store or Google Play. It's free to download, and you can re-watch other Weather Desk episodes. Watch us here for free. And also, we have a radar on there to track the upcoming weather. Plus, we update our forecast discussion on the website and the app at least 2 to 3 times a day, so you have the latest information on what to expect here across Hampton Roads. That's all I have for you on the Weather Desk today. I hope you learned some new information or you enjoyed the Weather Desk. Remember, this happens weekdays, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Meteorologist Craig Muller will be back tomorrow with the latest and top headlines from weather in Hampton Roads, across the country, and across the world. For now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson. Have a great day.